Broadcasting today from New York City, the home for the last 40 years of Saturday Night Live. And we're joined right now by Cecily Strong, who's been a cast member since 2012. Before that, she was acting and doing improv in Chicago, where she grew up as the daughter of an Associated Press bureau chief. The news she's on these days is, of course, the fake news Weekend Update. Here she is with SNL's Michael Che as the girl you wish you hadn't started a conversation with at a party.
I'm sorry, is this still about Boko Haram?
Open your eyes, Michael. Measles, Ebola, charter school. Sometimes I'm like, Saddam Hussein was right.
Cecily Strong, welcome to Here and Now. And you're going to be hosting the White House Correspondents' Dinner this month. How did you react when you got that call?
It took me a week to know that it was a real invitation because it came through my dad calling me. And he'd gotten an email from his friend, Christy Parsons, who's the head of the Correspondents Association. And the way he worded it in his voice message to me was that I thought he'd been asked to go or to speak or something. So I responded like, great, Dad. That's cool. Have fun. And then he went, so will you do it? And I kind of said, do what? What are you talking about? And then he sent me the email he'd gotten. And then I kind of went, this can't be real. And then I talked to people at SNL.
Why did they send it through that way, I wonder?
I don't know, because I have, a team. I've got a manager and agents, and I assume it's easy to find that information. But maybe she thought maybe my dad could help get me to say yes or something. So then when you figured out it was you? I was hoping that it was on a night that we were doing SNL, so I'd have an easy excuse to not do it. Just because it's such a daunting task. But then I realized, I'll kick myself if I don't say yes to this, even though it is very scary. And as you look at other people who have hosted it before you, do you want to be on the edgier side, or do you want to be friendlier to the people that you're around, or how do you approach that as a comedian? It's tough. It's sort of I'm not as edgy and mean, but I do have a couple little things that I'd like to be pointed about. But I guess I'd like to keep it funny more than anything, more than going in to prove any points or something. I'd rather it was funny and an entertaining speech. And do you have control over what you're going to do there?
I do. Yes. They've given me no boundaries or anything.
You did a sketch recently on Saturday Night Live. You were supposed to be an anchor on CNN, and I want to take a little listen to some of that.
Today's top story, as it's been for the last 11 days, the Germanwings airplane that crashed in the French Alps last week. Joining us now from La Vernay, France, is our own Jacqueline Jackson.
Good to be here, Brooke.
Jacqueline, can you tell us what exactly happened to that plane?
Even better, I can show you using one of CNN's patented animated reenactments. Now, apparently one of the pilots was locked out of the cockpit and couldn't open the door, which we believe looks something like this.
Now, in that, we're seeing this low-quality computer image of a hand banging on a door. It turns into a very funny sketch. But I wonder, when you started off like that with a plane crash.
Oh, yeah. It made me terribly nervous. But I think the whole point is you have to be able to laugh at things. And it wasn't about the plane crash. It's like that is what CNN was talking about. And to make fun of how they talk about it. I think that was a really important distinction.
You were actually the anchor of Weekend Update for a little while. Let's listen to a little bit. This is from November of 2013.
Toronto Mayor Rob Ford said in an interview this week that he would have admitted to smoking crack sooner if anyone had asked him the question, have you smoked crack, rather than do you smoke crack? And much sooner if anyone had simply asked, would you like some crack?
But how was that to anchor Weekend Update?
It was so much fun. I love Seth so much, and it was great to work with him. But it became clear that it was going to be something that I would have to spend a lot of time on. And I sort of didn't want to lose the sketch side of the show, since that's what I love the most. And, in self-reflection, when people would come up to me and say, oh, I love you on the show, Weekend Update is, and then I'd kind of go, oh, good, but what did you think of that character? Do you like, so
you'd prefer to do the characters.
Yeah, I really missed that.
Who are your influences from previous? I mean, you just had the Saturday Night Live 40th anniversary, and everybody was there from so long ago. But
yeah, I always loved Phil Hartman. I think for me, I would like to play straight roles as well as him, and make them really funny. Amy Poehler's been a big hero of mine. But really, I could go through everybody in the cast and say why I love them. It's really, and that's real and not just me.
It must be a killer schedule, though.
Oh, it is.
That show.
Oh, yeah. I'm a dead woman most of the time. I live my life tired.
How does it work? How does it work throughout the week?
Our schedule is we go to pitch meetings on Monday. Tuesday's our big writing day. Then Thursday is a rewrite day. And then Friday is when we do all of our pre-tapes. But we also do the bulk of our rehearsal.
All of the pre-tapes are done that late on Friday.
Well,
and then they have to be put
or that
together
early.
by...
Well, yeah.
Or that early.
Yeah, a lot of times you're getting picked up at 5 a.m. and driving to New Jersey. I always have my little airline pillow that I bring with me.
When you go off the cue cards, I'm sure at some point you've just said, you know what, I'm just going to do this. I'm going to do it my way.
Oh, to improvise?
Yeah. Do
Oh,
you?
no,
or
no,
is that just...
No,
you just
because you'd... Gosh, there are so many shots that are set up for specific lines, so I would throw off not only maybe the other person in the scene, but our
you
director.
have to stick to the script, exactly.
Yeah. Just this weekend, we had one where it was so fast, the changes, they couldn't even go over them with us. And the writer came out right before and said, we had to cut a bunch, just try to follow along. It's kind of like, okay, I don't know what I'm going to do. So it's really, that's why they're there, because it really is so last minute.
What is the sketch that you're most proud of that you've done since you've been at Saturday Night Live that you can go back and watch and still just find really funny, be very happy with it?
This year, I could say that the Christmas special was really fun to me. Getting to do the cereal sketch and the raccoon sketch at the same time. And then even past that, just getting our sillier sketches on has been really fun. You know, we wrote the chicken one with Chris Hemsworth. We wrote the banana song with British Girl. All of those have been really, really fun and special to me.
Let's get bananas tonight. 5, 4, 3, 2, banana.
And you've got this character, this recurring character, the girl you wish you hadn't started
Yes.
a conversation with at a party. Was that something that came from you?
Of course, yeah. I wrote it with Colin, and it started off as me just making fun of myself, an idea that I had. So we just tried it, and everybody could relate, which was really nice. Who knew?
Is there somebody in your mind when you're doing that you know?
Well, it's me as a 20-year-old, definitely. But then also, I remember during that election, there was someone, I won't name names, but there was someone on my Facebook feed who, after the election, she wrote, wow, everybody's really, really happy, and that just makes me really, really sad. I'm like, why would you say that? You don't sound mean. You sound awful.
Now, you and I are both from Illinois. You're from outside of Chicago.
Yeah.
Is there anything about growing up in the Midwest, growing up outside of Chicago that figures into your work now? Do you have a different sense of humor than some of your fellow cast members who are from the coasts?
I feel like absolutely there's a difference in people from the Midwest that you sort of keep in you. I think it's growing up talking to strangers and being able to do that. I think there's something friendly about us. You want to find good in people a little bit. I don't know.
I mean, I remember growing up and waving at the cops as they drove down the street.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. There's something fun about that. Although I think we have the most vanity plates. I'd heard
in
that
the
once.
Midwest.
I think we have the most.
We had vanity plates when I was growing up. We had all the letters of my siblings and me, all of the initials of our names on the back of our. We tried to make it spell a word.
Yeah, see, we love that. One time, my dad for Christmas, they never had Cecily, so my dad got me a Shamika one once because he thought this is as close as they have to Cecily.
By the way, Cecily Strong. That's your real name.
That's my real
right?
name.
That's not a stage name.
No. My grandfather was Colonel Cecil Strong, so I'm named after my grandfather.
Wow.
We're going to visit his grave in Arlington, yeah.
Oh, wow. He fought in
World War II. My dad was actually born in Germany, so he was an army brat growing up.
Oh, wow.
He had to answer the phone. Colonel Strong's residence, William speaking. So it makes me laugh because I was raised very differently.
You didn't answer the phone like that?
No. I used to do funny answer machine messages. Well, funny to me. Terribly embarrassing now. I think I did one as in a Scottish voice. I did one as in a real Chicago superfans kind of accent. I mean, it's humiliating. I'm so glad
you're not going to do it.
Oh
now?
no, definitely not.
We'll find the tapes.
You can't. They're gone. I burned them.
Well, Cecily Strong of Saturday Night Live, she's going to be hosting the White House Correspondents' Dinner later this month in Washington. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. You're my first NPR interview.
Really?
Yeah.
And how was it?
It was fantastic. It's everything I dreamed of. So I'm done, I guess.
One of the great icons of New York City.